Okay, this is a disassembly and screen replacement guide for the Sony Vaio FW235J. You can see that. Okay, well, the first thing you have to do, as with any electrical device that you work on, remove the battery, take it out, set it aside, and you only need to take out the screws on the top section near the hinges of the display. You can actually replace the display without taking it off of the base, but it's a lot easier if you just take it off, and it's really not too hard to take it off. So we're just going to go ahead and do that now. What's nice about this particular laptop is that most of the screws are the same length and size, and the ones that aren't are very easy to identify and figure out where they belong. You just need to remove every screw that is above the memory cover, except for the hole right next to it that actually connects to the keyboard, so that one needs to be removed as well to remove the keyboard. So once that is finished, you can flip over the laptop and open it up, and then there is a cover over the speakers and the top buttons, the top media buttons. You can actually just grab the sides of it, and if you push the display back just far enough, it should pry right off. And if you are having difficulty taking it off, you probably forgot to take a screw out. So don't try too hard or else you'll crush the plastic. So once you take this off, you can set it aside. And then next, you have to remove the keyboard to get to the display connectors. So the same thing, if the keyboard doesn't come out very easily, you probably forgot the screw. Okay, once that's out, don't pull it out of the laptop because it is still connected. All you need to do is flip it over and just make sure you don't damage the ribbon cable. Or you could take it off if you wanted to make it a little bit easier for yourself. All you have to do is pull the little brown notch with your fingers or with a little tool like this. Pull it out to the left, and once you get it out, the ribbon should slide right out, and then you can set the keyboard on the side as well. The next thing you need to do is remove the display and the Wi-Fi antenna connectors from the motherboard so you can remove the display. There are 3 connectors, as seen here, here, and here for the display, and then the Wi-Fi antennas are under this white ribbon, and they're the gray and black pins on the Wi-Fi card. So first, with the same technique as removing the keyboard, you just need to gently pry out the connectors for the display. Okay. And then likewise for the Wi-Fi antenna, you're going to have to remove the ribbon cable for the media buttons, which is very easy to do. All you have to do is flip up this latch right here, and then the ribbon comes right out. And then as you can see, there are 2 small wires with almost circular connectors, and those are the Wi-Fi antenna. Be sure to connect the wires to the right socket, or else the Wi-Fi probably won't work properly. Now on my model, the gray wire is on the bottom connector, and then the black wire is on the top connector. Should be the same for yours, but just double check how it's looking. And if once you put the computer back together, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, that is probably the culprit. Then all you have to do is deroute it from the computer, and then to get the display off, you also have to remove the 2 speakers on both sides to get to the hinges. You don't have to remove the wires for the speakers. All you need to do is flip them over so you can get to the hinge screws for the laptop. So make sure that you have your wires all the way out of the main body of the computer. You don't want to damage anything when you go to remove the display. Alright, and then there are 2 screws connecting the display to the main body of the laptop, and all you have to do is remove those and the screen should pull right out of place. Just make sure you hold the display because it's kind of heavy when it's not screwed in to the body and it might fall over. You don't want to damage anything else besides your screen. Okay. So once you unscrew that, you can just carefully pull the display off of the base. You might have to turn it a bit if it's too far out, but otherwise you can just pull it right off and then set the body to the side because we don't need to work with that anymore because we need to replace the screen. Okay, now there should be 4 screws below the rubber stoppers on the display, right on the 4 corners. My 2 bottom ones are missing from when I took apart the display before, but very simple, just unscrew them and you should be good to go. Again, keep track of these screws because I believe they are shorter than the screws for the body. Okay, for this next part, you have to be very careful because we have to remove the plastic frame from the display, but it is very thin and you don't want to bend it too much or else it might break. So the best thing to do is to start at one corner and try to pry it up. If you've taken the display apart before, it should be easier to do, as is mine. It might be a little bit tough on yours, but you can find a little tool like the small little spudger tool and just run it along the edges and it should pop out of place. Again, don't use too much force because it might damage the frame. Okay, so once you've got the frame out, again you can just set it to the side and we will work on removing the display. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is remove or loosen the bezel that's actually holding the screen. We don't need to take it completely out, we just need to loosen it from the bottom so we can get to the screws that are located on the side of the display, as you can see here. Okay, so first we need to remove screws on the 2 corners connecting the bracket to the display base. And there's also 2 more screws on the top for the bracket to remove. Once you have done this, you should be able to actually pull the laptop out of the display, which you don't have to, but you can actually pick it up and put it to the side just so you can get to the screws on the side of the bracket more easily to remove the display. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Once you do that, you can go ahead and pull the display up out of the base. Just don't pull it too far because the wires are still connected. First you want to remove the backlight wire right here on the right side of the display, and it should just pull right out. You might need to use a little bit of force because it's probably been in there for a while. And then on the back of the display there's a ribbon that actually connects the display to the motherboard. You want to be very careful that you don't damage it, but you do need to remove it to replace it, and you do need to leave the ribbon in place on the display base because screen replacement likely won't include another ribbon. Okay, you can pull it off, and then you should be able to pull your display right out of the base. Okay, once you've done that, you can take your shiny new display and connect it to the display. Basically just following the reverse process that we just used. It's going to be pretty straightforward because there's not really much you have to keep track of. Most of the screws should be pretty identifiable and should be fairly straightforward. You can even watch the video again to see how to put things back because it's basically just disassembling it in a reverse order. There isn't much else to it.